Hi, everyone. Welcome to the workshop. We'll just give people another minute to log on, and then we'll get started with the tour. And as you're coming in, feel free to put in the chat, introduce yourself and say where you're tuning in from today. So we have Doreen, who is a John Bowne alum from beautiful Astoria. That's so cool. Glad you could join today. We have Andrea from Corona. Anne has been on a tour of John Bowne years ago and volunteered at the Green Market at Pominock, which is cool. All right, so I think we are good to get started. If Christian, you're also feeling ready.
Yeah,
so I'll do a little, great. I'll do a little introduction and then I will put up the video for us to watch of the farm tour. So thank you all so much for joining today. My name is Laura Casarigola. I'm a school gardens manager with Grow NYC, and I'm joined today by my coworker, Jinky, who will be helping out in the chat and with the Q&A at the end of the workshop. And our very special guest today is Christian Gilses, who is a student and agriculture expert extraordinaire from John Bowne High School, and he will be mainly leading the workshop today.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me today.
So we're with Grow NYC, and we protect the environment, create green spaces, help people stay healthy, and give them opportunities to make a positive impact. We work in a lot of different sectors, including conservation and zero waste programs. We create green spaces. We do education programs, as well as work in the arenas of food access and agriculture all over New York City. So today, the plan is to do a farm tour of the farm at John Bowne High School. And that'll be about a 25-minute video that we'll watch, and then we'll have time for Q&A after that. And then we're going to do a seed starting workshop as well after that, which will be really interesting because it is exactly the season that we are all planting and seed starting and transplanting. And Christian will go through the difference between direct sowing the seeds in the ground as well as planting transplants. And we'll have time for Q&A as well. So today, as you can see on the bottom of your screen, there should be a toolbar that says Q&A. And that's where if you have questions that you want to ask, please put them in there so we can keep track and have a list of all of the questions that we can ask either during the videos or after the videos. We can ask them. And then you can use the chat more as like a conversation to talk with people as well as us. So questions in the Q&A and small talk in the chat. We are recording today's workshop and we'll send you a follow-up email so that you have all of that. And you can find that and many more resources on grownyc.distancelearning.org. So actually, I can go back and I'm going to start sharing the video. Okay, is this showing pretty well on the screen?
Yep, looks good.
All right. So I'm going to do it. If there's any technical difficulties, just let us know in the chat. But this should work pretty well. Here we go.
Hello, my name is Christian Gilsis, and I'm a senior in the John Bowne Agriculture program here at John Bowne High School, and also the founder of Cluck Cluck Moo Moo. Today, I'm going to be giving you an exclusive tour of the John Bowne Agriculture Farm. So, let's get started. Behind me, I have our flower border, our orchard, and in front of me, I have our garden beds. Here at John Bowne, we call this the horticulture triangle because this trio of flowers, fruits, and vegetables introduces as many pollinators onto our farm as possible. So living in an urban area, we might not have as many pollinators as people in rural areas, so we wanted to have as many options for our pollinators right at the start of our farm to want to pollinate all of our crops and really help us out with our fruit production. Here is a closer look at our flower border and our orchard behind. We have over 50 apple trees help planted by the Bartlett tree experts. Students are able to prune, learn how to fertilize, and we get to harvest all the apples in the fall time, which is a really delicious season. So this is our horticulture triangle. As we move down, you get to see all the flowers. Right now we have some daffodils, some tulips. We have the muscari in the orchard. And then here we have our garden beds with our nice gazebo. As we move down the farm, we see our fields. These fields take up almost 2 acres out of the 4 acres that we have on the farm here. And these fields are used for crop production. We have lots of abundance in crops during the summer and spring season. We plant all types of crops you can imagine. Horseradish, peppers, cucumbers, tomatoes, corn. I'm trying to think of others. Eggplant. Basically anything. We even started a strawberry patch. So we have everything that you can imagine, and we're always expanding. But something unique is that half of our fields here are used for a special opportunity for our freshmen. Freshmen are required to spend a whole summer or 2 months on the farm caring for their 15 by 15 foot plot of land, which is truly a really great opportunity that I was always grateful for, because that allows students to gain over 300 hours of experience right off the bat in their first year of high school. So we're instructed to plant all types of vegetables: corn, tomatoes, herbs, flowers, all types of plants that we have to care for. We till the soil, we plant them in, because we just get that plot of land bare. So students get to gain all that experience not only in our fields but also in our other facilities that you will see soon. But now I will take you over to our fields. Right now it's a little barren because it is the very start of the season, but you can still see how beautiful it is. So this is our field. This part of land is where all the students get their 15 by 15 foot plot of land, and they're able to plant. And then the far down, the left side of the field is where we produce our crops. Before we moved on to the greenhouse, I just wanted to show you a very special part of our farm. Behind me, this is one of the original buildings from the very start of the farm. So our farm has been farmed on for over 100 years, and John Bowne Agriculture School started in 1964. That's when the John Bowne Aggies officially began. So this building is actually going to be turned into an official historical landmark here in Queens, in the middle of our farm, and it's just, I felt that it was worth mentioning. So let's take a closer look at it. This is what we call the tool shed. So you could see it definitely looks like it was an original building, but inside we keep all of our tools that we use on the farm. So here it is, the middle of our farm. As we circle around, we hit our 4-bay greenhouse. So this is a highlight of our farm because students not only get to gain animal science experience, but also plant science experience. So this is where we start all of our seedlings. Our students come in here, they start the seeds themselves, they learn how to transplant, how to seed, how to classify seeds, and then how to overwinter or how to transfer seedlings outdoors. And this is where all the plants that they use during summer land labs start. So it's a really fun experience for students to seed, start their own plants, and then use them at the end of their school year, and then begin their summer land lab, and then be able to harvest all the produce and take it all home from the seeds that they started in this very greenhouse. So we do have a few plant sales that we're gonna start. So we start our little starts in this greenhouse. We grow them up. So students also get experience in greenhouse management, in learning how to fertilize or water or prune again, learning how to pinch seedlings, how to care for different types of plants like brassicas or ornamentals and stuff like that. So I will show you, we'll do a walkthrough, and then we're gonna hit our hydroponics, also a unique aspect of our program, and then we'll go into a deep dive into that. So the fan is on, so this is a temperature regulated greenhouse, so just pardon the noise, but here we have some of our seedlings. We also have houseplants as we go through. We have all types, so right now these are herbs. Here we have lots of our ornamentals, like impatiens, celosia, coleus. Right now we have broccoli, kale, tomatoes, and other types of herbs. We have some hanging baskets that was started for the flower sale that we're gonna have. Over there we have some more vegetables, basil, cilantro. You can see some marigolds, or no, cosmos getting tall there. Some geraniums, impatiens. It doesn't stop, we have more. Lots of little seedlings. Some house plants that students also get to care for. Students propagated these plants because they also learn how to propagate. This is Tradescantia, and then we have some snake plants. And then finally, we have our hydroponics. This part of our greenhouse is very special because students not only get to gain experience in the traditional farming techniques, but they also get experience in the future of agriculture. Soilless farming. We're seeing it more often in more facilities all over the city and all over the world. So having our students gain experience in soilless farming and learning how to work with the facility and learning how to actually grow plants and how to harvest is very special. So Council Member Nili Razik gracefully gave our program $35,000 grant for funding for this facility, and we're very grateful for it because this is it. So I will show you more into depth, but right now we have peppers growing, we have basil, and we also have aquaponics here at John Bowne High School, which is the farming of crops without soil, but with the introduction of fish. So the fish waste fertilizes the plants. But for those who don't know what hydroponics is the growing of crops without soil, so just water. and that's it, just water. So you'll see some clay balls, so that just helps with the stability of our plants. But that's really it. That's all that they need. We add some organic fertilizer into the water to keep it going. But it's really unique to have this here at our farm. So let's take a look. You saw a sneak peek before, but this is it. Right now we have some basil, some little basil seedlings. Other plants are being covered for humidity, and then some basil, some peppers. So during the summer, this is usually full. We have lettuce, cucumbers we started, we have tomatoes, all sorts of vegetables that students get to, again, harvest and learn how to care for. As we continue circling our farm, we hit our large animal barn. As you can see, here we have our miniature zebu. So these cattle stay very small. As you can see, we have a common theme of having miniature animals here at our farm because of space. That was our sheep, Plumette. So just a run through of all of our animals. You will get to see them all. But we have 2 miniature zebu cattle. We have 2 sheep, 2 African pygmy goats, 2 miniature horses, 1 miniature donkey. We have a flock of 7 outdoor chickens. Let me see. That is, oh, and 3 alpacas. So you will get to see them all. But just before that, students care for all these animals, so all the husbandry in terms of cleaning out their pens, feeding them in the morning, and mucking out their paddocks outside, grooming and brushing, all of that, hoof care also. So students are able to have hands-on experience with these large animals in the center of our farm, because this is, so again, I keep saying unique because it really is. We have all these animals, all these animals here for our students to take care of and gain experience with. So students even have vet tech units where they're able to take the temperature, heart rate, and respiratory rate of all of our animals here and learn just basic veterinary technician roles. So now let's take a look. We'll start off here. So this is one of our cattle. There's the 1 sheep, Plumette. Here's another one of the 2nd cow. And then our other sheep that is the partner of Plumette. And these are our alpacas and some of our chickens. They were outside grazing in their paddock. So you can notice that our gray alpaca, and then we have 2 cream alpacas. So funny story, while you watch them eat, we had 2 gray alpacas, and one of them actually passed away during COVID just due to old age. She's been here for over 15 years, and we had to get a companion for our other gray alpaca, which her name is Abby. So we got Chupacabra, which is right here in the front, this one right here. So we got her to accompany Abby, and then we didn't know that she was pregnant. She was told she was pregnant, and then she gave birth to Julie. So now we have 3, and we love them very much. Julie was an amazing surprise. And yeah, that was very interesting seeing her grow up from a little baby alpaca to now almost being fully grown up and as big as her mom. But yeah, this is them. These are 2 roosters here. And let's just swing by and just go see our other animals again as they eat. Here they are. They're wondering why they're on camera this morning. Our 2 zebu cattle, our brown cattle, that's as big as they stay. That's their full size. And then our 2 sheep. So Plumette the short hair one, and then Lumiere, the wooled one. So fun fact about Plumette, she is actually one of the few species that don't need shearing because she sheds on herself. She sheds all by herself. So sheep and alpacas, they get sheared here once a year. So Lumiere is due for shearing soon. But yeah, that's just fun to learn that Plumette is, she doesn't need shearing. But that's our farm, our livestock. We're gonna head over and see the horses, donkey, and goats right on the other side of our barn. So these are our miniature horses and our goats. Let's take a look. So here they are. Oh, he's taking a scratch. The polka dot donkey, she's right here. That is Haley. Then the brown and white miniature horse, that is Rosie. And then we have a third horse, she's all the way down. So this is their paddock. They have two separate paddocks from the cows and the alpacas and the sheep. So our two goats, we have Panda, that is outside of the hay bucket, and then Torpedo, who is inside of the hay bucket. He loves to always eat inside of the bucket. But there they are eating their morning hay, and then we have Aggie, all the way down there, getting some grass. But this is them. Again, students clean out their cages, they groom them, take care of their hooves, and do all of that. And students also learn how to walk them. So just for exercise, they walk them, they play with them for enrichment, and they get to have all types of fun with these animals. But just again, another look. So calming to see them eat in the morning. But yeah, let's move on to our nursery. So behind me, as we continue to circle around the farm, we have our hoop houses. So this is where we care for all of our trees, and this is where we lay out all of our plants once it's warm enough to transfer them outside of the greenhouse. So the New York City Parks Department gives us trees to take care of here at the farm, and then they distribute them to parks all over the city. So students learn how to transplant, how to care for, how to prune again, and just learn about deciduous and evergreen trees here. But there is a more special greenhouse that we have behind our hoop houses that I want to share with you guys. But in the meantime, this is our hoop houses. Behind me, we have very special trees. These are propagations of the survivor tree from the attacks on the World Trade Center from 9/11. So these trees were propagated from the sole survivor tree at the World Trade Center when the attacks happened by Bartlett tree experts. They made propagations, and John Bowne High School is the only school and only people that have these trees in their possession. So we care for these trees. We fertilize, we prune, we transplant. So these trees are more than just trees. They symbolize the strength and resilience that from the attacks. So students are able to not only care for these trees, but also use them as a learning tool to remember the tragedy that happened. So these trees mean a lot to our program, and they're very important here. So I'll show you a closer look at these trees. So John Bowne Agriculture was given 400 propagations, and over the years, places that have had tragedies. So we've given trees to people in the Bahamas, from Hurricane Dorian, even to Japan, really everywhere that has had a tragedy. So this tree is a calorie pear of the Bradford variety. It is an ornamental pear tree, so these flower. If you see the original survivor tree in the city, you could see how big and amazing it is when it flowers. So right now, these are the only trees that we have left from the original propagation, but all of our trees have the little medallion to certify that these are original trees. They have the Bartlett Tree Experts and the Survivor Tree Project. But that is our trees. Let's just take a walk through. So they're all attached to drip. These trees are very special. Let's move on to our next facility. Our next facility is our small animal care room. So this room houses all of our small animals, like our rats, our gerbils, our chinchillas, our degus, our mice, our guinea pigs. So this room, you may notice, is set up in a very specific way, and that is to mimic a laboratory setup. So students who want to go into the science industry in agriculture, they're able to gain experience here. So for example, lab animal techs and stuff like that, they're able to see how it is, and then they're able to decide if they want to go into that career. But yeah, I will give you a look around. So let's take a look around. So first, we have our guinea pigs. Let's take a closer look. These are our recent babies. They're so small and cute. Next we have our rats. More rats. We have mice. And then a continuation of mice. And we have gerbils down here. Next is our chinchillas. They're sleeping, but one is out right now. I don't know if you could see. And then our degus. Look at them huddled, sleeping. They're really cute. You may have noticed that some of our cages are labeled research do not touch. So students have the opportunity to gain experience in research. So they do more behavioral research, nothing too extreme, because we don't want to dive into all that, but students are able to gain that experience. So this research is actually pertaining to repelling or attracting mice in terms of smell. So the students are using essential oils or other smells, like for example lavender, rosemary, and seeing what attracts and repels mice to maybe make a breakthrough in that industry. So that's really cool. Yeah, so this is our small animal care room. So again, students also clean out these cages. They give them new shavings. They replace their bedding. They feed them. They do all their waters. All of that. All of this is student run. Attached to our small animal care facility, we have our chicken room. Yes, your eyes are not deceiving you. I am in a room full of chickens. So here at John Brown High School, and it's a little loud, so bear with me, but we have over 150 laying hens that we have here at our farm. So these chickens are used for egg production. So students come in here weekly, daily, to collect all of the eggs in the nest boxes, clean them out in our sinks with professional soaps and make sure that they're all clean, and then we candle them So candling is just checking all of our eggs under a light to see if there's any imperfections like cracks. And then from there, if all of our eggs are good, they're not cracked, they package them up and they are sold at our egg shop in the front of our school. So this is really cool. So this is a little sneak peek into production agriculture that our students are able to gain. But we could take a little look around. This is one of the rooms that when freshmen or just anybody comes into our school, they're blown away because when do you see a room full of chickens? So let's take a look. So this is our chicken room. This is a temperature regulated, light regulated room. So chickens have their feed, their water. All shavings are taken out weekly by our students. Yeah, oh, here comes the air. But yes, so this, they lay year round. We get a new shipment about every 3 years. Yeah, so these chickens live fully indoors. And they're really interesting. All right, we can move on to our next facility. As part of the small animal care facility, we have our rabbit hutches outside. So again, students get to learn how to handle all the small animals like our rabbits and our guinea pigs and our rats and our mice. They're able to groom and socialize these animals, and I will just give you a look around. This one's my favorite. His name is Bugs. I love him. Last but not least, we have our peacocks. These Last but not least, we have our peacocks. So we have one peacock and one peahen. So they have made little pea chicks before, but they're just something unique, something exotic that we have on our farm. So I'll show you a close. So these are our peacocks. I hope you're able to see them, but we have our big male with the big tail. That rhymed. And then we have our female in the back. So funny story, these animals actually made headlines before in the New York Times because we used to have them roaming around freely, but they actually flew away and they flew all over Queens, so we had to catch them, and now they live in this aviary. They're amazing. They're actually going to get ready to breed soon to make little pea chicks.
All right, so that was the tour. We can now go into some of the questions, and then maybe we'll just do that for about 5 minutes, and then we'll go into the seed starting video after that.
Yes, so I've got a few questions. The first one is from Sophia, and Sophia is asking, does each student have their own plot? When Doreen was there, she says she had a 10 by 10 plot. How is that this year?
Yeah, so each student has a 15 by 15 plot. Yeah, so every single student. So that's something really fun and interesting that each student has a tent for their own garden almost. So as I said in the video, we just get it bare. It's just a little plot of land, like it's just soil. So we have to learn how to till it, how to care for our soil, when to water, where to place our plants, and it all starts from there. So it's really cool.
Great. And another question from Sophia, did you have an interest in agriculture before high school?
I did. So I loved plants and animals my whole life, basically, but I always thought it was going to be a hobby. So like I never knew I would be pursuing agriculture as my main career or doing these workshops today. So when I got to the agriculture program at John Bowne High School, that's when it really started because I was able to really use my interest and expand and grow. So the program really gave me that foundation to then build my own platform and then start doing all of this work.
That's wonderful, Christian.
Yeah.
And this is Christian's senior year, and he'll be off to college, and he's going to continue his studies in agriculture. And I'm curious, I know this year you have a research project, and we saw your chickens yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah, what is your research project?
So other students were doing mice, rats, like the usual research-ish animals. So I was like, why not do chickens? Something out of the box. So my research was on cognitive potential and environmental aspects on chickens and then on egg production. So we were just testing to see how our free range system, and we kept them outside, was versus a almost like a commercial cage system. So we replicated a cage system which was just the chicken room, and we kept 10 chickens outside in the aviary. So we just wanted to test to see if, because I wanted to take an animal welfare side to it. So I wanted to see if the methods that are being used in the egg production industry today are really useful. And we found that um, our free range chickens laid more eggs. So that's just something interesting, that we found.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Christian. This is another question about the chickens in the chat. Let me see. Anne is asking, can we adopt 3 chickens when it's time for you to get another group? She's helped take care of 63 chickens on Governor's Island, and she has a fenced-in yard and empty heated garage.
That's a great question. Christian, I don't want to put you on the spot for that one. We can follow up with some of your teachers and folks at John Bowne to see if that's possible.
Yeah, if you email me, I could connect you directly with that question. So at clucklukmumu@gmail.com.
Thanks, Christian.
We'll post that at the end too. Do you have turtles there still?
Yeah, so our turtles were in the reptile room. So if you remember the reptile room in the basement with Mr. Dickler, he so during the winter we keep them indoors, and then we're actually going to be moving them out shortly.
Yeah, that's great. And Laura put Christian's email address in the chat, so you can find it there. And where the huge turtles go, follow up to Anne. They could be used for transportation. She's kidding. This is a great tour of the farm, and I think we were all touched by the trees from 9/11. Really, really amazing. And everybody thanks you for this. You rock, Christian, from Valerie. And I know Anne had another question about your seedlings. She wants to know when the flower sale is. She lives in Flushing and would love to put some money aside for your sale.
Yeah, so we had a Mother's Day sale that happened last weekend, but our seasonal farmers market will be opening. So it's right in front of the school during the summer. So it starts in late June. So we're gonna have like ornamental and vegetable plants that you can pick up. So late June.
Great, thank you. Jane asked, I saw your question earlier, Jane. but I don't know where it went. I think Laura
I saw
answered it.
Jane had a question about if it was possible for the chickens that are in the room to be free range. And I put that we can follow up with the teaching team at John Bowne to see what the answer to that one would be.
Got it.
I know they do at John Bowne, they do have some free range chickens that were roaming around with the big animals.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Okay. I think we've covered all the questions. I know you had another segment and it is 4:42, so we should start on that segment. Thanks everybody for your questions. If we don't get to it at this moment, then we will try and save them for the end.
All right, I will now share the seed starting demo. And this workshop is just this segment is just under 10 minutes long. So here we go. Let me know if there's any technical difficulties.
We're back in the greenhouse to start our little mini workshop in the tour. Now that you've seen our facilities, so I just want to touch upon the topic of when to transfer your seeds out from indoors to outdoors, how to do that, when to do that. And yeah, let's get started. So I have a tray of mint here. This is mojito mint. And when looking to transfer your plants, you first want to start off with, is it established? So if you have a tiny little seed, like these little sun gold tomatoes, that's gonna be a little harder to transfer outside when they're this small, because these are little seedlings, meaning that weather is going to affect them more, sunlight is going to affect them more. So when you have an established plant that's ready to go, that has gotten used to new lighting, new weather, new watering and all that, it's going to be easier to transfer outside. So when do you want to transfer? You want to transfer when the weather is at a stable temperature, so when it's obviously above freezing. Because if you transfer these seedlings from a nice warm greenhouse sitting at 60 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit, you don't want to transfer out when it's 30 to 50 degrees. So you want to wait until nighttime temperatures hit around 40 degrees and there's no more freezing dates. So here in New York City, we already passed the last frost date, which is the last date that there is going to be a frost overnight. Which was April 13th. So we passed it. And so now you're able to start planting outdoors, to start transplanting seedlings from inside to outside, and you're able to do all that. But you want a nice little tip that I like to remember and recommend to new gardeners or beginners or anybody is to always have a middle ground in between the warm greenhouse and the outdoors. So you want to set your plants somewhere where it's in the middle. So if you have a garage, you could put your plants in the garage overnight for a week until they're settled into that in-between temperature of the warm indoors and the coldish outside. So that's a good tip to always remember. But yeah, that is all the tips for transplanting your seeds from indoors to outdoors. But yeah, you can take a look. So this is what I meant by established plants. So we already have multiple branches. And when you transfer outside, you want to monitor your plants to make sure that nothing's happening. If the sun is really hitting them and you have young plants like this, even though they're established, they're still young. So if you put them from inside where they have some hard shade, and then you put them outside and they're hit with full afternoon sun, that's going to do some damage to the leaves. So you just want to make sure to keep monitoring your plants to make sure that you're keeping up with consistent watering. Because again, this is what the plants were used to indoors. So you just want to keep the same watering habits, make sure that the sun isn't hitting them too hard, that they have enough sun, because even if it is warm enough, and you put your little seedlings outdoors, and in the greenhouse they have full sun, which is what seedlings need. They need full sun, and then you put them outside under a tree or somewhere where it's shaded, and now they have shade. They will not grow as vigorously as they would in a greenhouse. So it's all about just knowing your little habits and just knowing your conditions for your plants to successfully transfer over a plant. But we could take this mint outdoors. You could come along with me, and we could take it outside. So let's go. See, we laid our mint out in the hoop house so it has sun, but it's partial sun. So I made sure that the sun won't hit it too hard in the afternoon. It's nice and watered. The temperature is not that cold, so it's sitting at around 50 degrees right now, which is perfect for the transition from indoors to outdoors. And if the weather isn't ready, if it's a little too cold for your liking and you don't want to risk putting out your plants, you could take your plants outside during the daytime or the afternoon and then bring them in during the nighttime to get them accustomed to that outdoor temperature slowly. But these are all the plants that are transplanted outside right now that were taken out, transferred, and yeah, ready to grow. The fun isn't stopping here. I want to show you guys how to direct sow onto the land. I'm going to explain to you what it is, how to do it, and some aftercare. So first, what is direct sowing? So usually, typically we plant in soil in little seed packs or in 4-inch or 2-inch containers in little pots. But direct sowing is just putting the seeds right onto the land where you want them and letting them grow naturally with the outdoor environment there. So there is some benefits. You could have your seeds more established because they already are introduced to the environment outside. There is no transition period. So if you want to avoid that whole transitioning of the plants from indoors to outdoors, you could do direct sowing. And it's just easier. So I found that sometimes you may not have as much success with growing seeds indoors, but don't let that discourage you because you could always direct sow. You do lose a little bit of the advantage with indoor seeding. So with indoor seeding, you can start your seeds earlier indoors with the warmer temperature inside and then transition those plants outdoors. But with direct sowing, you're relying on the outdoor temperature. So once your season starts, you direct sow and then that's when they start. But with indoor seeding, you could start before the season starts. But if that doesn't bother you, then you could direct sow your peas, your corn, your peppers, your tomatoes, really anything you desire right into your landscape or into your garden beds, and it could be successful. So today I'm going to show you how to direct sow some marigolds, and we could take it from there. All right, so here we have the little plot of land that I want to garden on. So this is where I'm going to direct sow. So I'm just going to remove all the large twigs off the floor. I'm just going to use my little shovel to just dig up a little bit of the dirt. So this is going to allow the seeds somewhere to settle into, because if you just put them on the plain soil, you may risk the rain washing them away or birds eating your seeds. So you just want to rough up the soil a little bit, just the top ½ inch or inch of soil. You could dig up all the grass or the weeds so they don't outcompete your plants. So now that it's roughed up a little, removed all the grass, you could take your seeds. Again, I'm using marigolds. This is my seed here, and I'm just going to sprinkle a nice thin layer of seeds onto the soil, and then you just want to dig them up. Just do it loosely, just so they still have sunlight and water is able to reach them. Yeah, that's as simple as that. So just look after them, keep them moist always, because seeds always need water, they always need moisture. Just look after them, keep them moist, and you should be successful. Because as we see here, the sun isn't too strong. There is a tree right next to me, so it's providing partial shade, protection, but still sunlight for them to germinate. It's really that simple, so I'm hoping that you try it out. Thank you for watching my tour and my workshop. I hope you like the John Bowne Agriculture Farm, and thank you for joining me today. Again, my name is Christian Gilsis. I'm the founder of Cluckluckmoo, and you could reach me at cluckluckmoo@gmail.com. You could follow my Instagram and Facebook, which is at cluckluckmoo. Thank you for Grow NYC for allowing me to do this workshop and for partnering with me again. Yes, that's just to close it out. Thank you for watching. Bye.
All right. That is the end of the workshop, and we can move into the last part of the Q&A now.
Thank you for the tour, Christian. It's amazing that we have this facility in New York City. Who would have thought?
It really is, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you know this answer, but Lexi was asking, did you have to write grants for funding for the farm? And did you already have these facilities when you started? I'm sure, right?
Yeah, so all these facilities were already here when I started in high school, but we do definitely have to write grants for some funding. For example, the hydroponics. I mentioned that Nili Razik, a council member, was able to grant us the money to be able to purchase that. So funding and grants like that. I know that now since John Brown Agriculture has a lot of connections in urban agriculture in the city, we do lots of grants just to offer students jobs. So I personally am barn manager at my school at the barn that you saw. So I help feed the animals every morning. We groom, we walk, we clean out cages. We just oversee everything that goes on in the barn. So grants are written to be able to pay student staff that are working on the farm. So there's greenhouse managers, there's small animal care room managers. So definitely more grants are being written in terms of that kind of stuff.
It's great.
And that's awesome. And to build off that question from Lexi, part of what we do as Grow NYC School Gardens is helping schools find grants that are available that they can apply for so that they can get funds and materials such as those types of things. So like earlier this spring, Farm School was, doing a grant application to come out and build high tunnels at school and community gardens. And so we were able to hook up some of the schools we work with that opportunity. And anyone can sign up for our newsletter. Every month we send out a list of possible grants that are related to school and community gardens. So there's a lot of grants out there.
And one question from an anonymous attendee. What kind of houseplants and garden did or do you have in your balcony? It looks like you have quite a few.
Yeah, so I grew quite a large houseplant collection over the span of high school. So I would transfer some of them outside to the balcony if I wanted to grow them even more. So right now they're all inside because it's not that warm yet for them to be outside. But I would grow more herbs, ornamental plants outside, and some of my larger house plants. So like peace lilies, prayer plants. I now have 2 lemon trees, so they will be going outside soon. And I'm pretty excited about that. And then they will be brought in next fall. But yeah.
We also have a workshop recording that I can send in the follow-up email. Christian, this is not the first workshop he's done for Grow NYC. So he did do one, maybe even 2 on houseplants, actually. And so we have houseplants. He also did one on fruit tree care. So in the follow-up email, I'll send the link. All of it is posted on grownycdistancelearning.org. So we can send all of that too, because he's a houseplant expert as well.
Thank you. But yes, if nobody has any other questions, then
Yeah, I saw one last comment that someone had, was saying that they have a small space, and they want to grow things, but lack of space gets in the way. So I will
Mhm.
use this as a perfect opportunity to tell you about our beginner gardener intensive, which the first day, which is Tuesday, May 31st, envisioning your garden, we will be talking about small space gardening. I forgot to fill in this section, but if you are a school garden educator, we're having a school garden drop-in hour on May 17th, I believe it is. This will be in the follow-up email as well. And then the next beginner gardener intensive will be starting. It's a 4-day workshop series covering different topics. So we'll send you the links to that as well. And I believe that's everything. Sophia saying Christian's workshops are iconic. He was part of
thank
our
you so
beginner
much.
gardener intensive last year. So we have a lot of resources to follow up with. And you can also follow Christian, as he said, at Cluck Cluck Moo Moo on Instagram, on his website, and
See you
his
at.
email. And he just put all that info into the chat, and we'll have it in our follow-up email as well. And if you have any other questions, you can email our team at schoolgardens@grownyc.org. And with that, I will close it out and say thank you once again to Christian for sharing your expertise and your enthusiasm. It's always inspiring and very educational. I always learn a lot from your workshops too. So
Thank you.
thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Bye,
Thank you all for
everybody.
coming. Bye. Have a great day.